This episode of the Dungeoncast is brought to you by the Elements of Inspiration Kickstarter. Set off for adventure with Elements of Inspiration. This 420 card box set contains 9 decks, each for a different environment. So no matter where the heroes go, there will be exciting events to experience. Decks within the Element of Inspiration box set are based on common and exotic environments found in fantasy adventures including urban, forest, mountains, underground, waterways, tundra, deserts, plains, and swamps. The card types are based on the 3 pillars of gameplay emphasized in the world's greatest role-playing game: exploration, roleplay, and combat. Each card has a keyword and an explanatory paragraph to spark your imagination. There are also 4 options listed that pertain to the keyword for added variety and inspiration. Do not hesitate. Adventure calls! Back Elements of Inspiration from Nord Games today on Kickstarter with the link in the description below. Interested in sponsoring the show? Reach out to us at thedungeoncast@gmail.com. Hey everybody, welcome to the Dungeoncast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Will.
This is the podcast where we talk about everything Dungeons and Dragons, and today we're talking about Metamagic.
1, 2, 3, 4. Shout out to
Welcome, adventurers, to the Dungeoncast.
Hey, Brian.
Hey Will.
How you doing today?
I'm swell, man.
Yeah?
How are you?
I'm doing very good. Today's a good day.
Very good indeed.
So today we're doing something a bit different from what we usually do on the show. Rather than cover a class, a subclass, a monster, a god, we're going to instead analyze and discuss a specific class feature, like a specific mechanic. And
Yes.
it's going to be a little bit more discussion-based, less lecture-based.
Yeah.
So most classes have a single defining feature or set of mechanics that really characterize the class, sometimes to the point where the mechanic itself is synonymous with the class, and it's the first thing you think of when the class comes to mind. Examples being Barbarian and Rage, Druid and Wild Shape, and today's topic as well, which is going to be the Sorcerer and Metamagic.
Yeah.
I think it'll be fun to get into the crunch and workings of class features, and if the audience enjoys these discussions, I would very much like to regularly include them here on the Dungeoncast.
Let us know.
Yeah.
Somehow send a bird.
Yeah, it could be email. It could be a literal bird.
Messenger raven.
If you know where we live. Hopefully you don't. But if you do, send a bird.
I mean, if you do, thanks for not like
We
terrorizing.
got a P.O. box. How about you send something there?
Send the bird to the P.O. box. We'll put some bird seed in the P.O. box.
Yeah, there we go.
So I can chill there until I remember to go there.
Indeed. Which, have you ever gone to the P.O. box?
I've gone several times.
Okay, cool.
And I've gotten junk mail. Yeah.
That's not fun.
I know. I'm just waiting on
Stuff will come. Stuff will come.
I hope
Even if it's letters.
I hope Marcos didn't send like a postcard, and because I was like, oh, I need to go check the P.O. box, and I said so to you in like a chat forum that we're in.
Yeah.
And I didn't go. I got caught up and didn't go.
If something's there, I'm sure it's still waiting. All right, let's get back to it. So sorcerers are individuals born with magic in their veins. Magic's so potent, in fact, that it will express itself both chaotically and violently if it is not learned to be honed and controlled. A sorcerer must have an iron will, which they can force upon their power to do as they command. And the most unique and powerful way in which a sorcerer can do this is through their crown jewel feature, Metamagic.
It's got an old meme reference. I got ice magic in my veins.
With Metamagic, a sorcerer gains the ability to twist their spells to suit their needs. And through it, they are capable of doing things no other spellcaster can do. The Metamagic feature provides a sorcerer with optional effects that can be applied to their spells they cast. By spending their sorcery points provided by their feature Font of Magic, they can utilize these options as they sling spells. At level 3, the sorcerer gains 2 of the following Metamagic options of their choice. Careful Spell, Distant Spell, Empowered Spell, Extended Spell, Heightened Spell, Subtle Spell, Seeking Spell, Twin Spell, and Transmuted Spell.
Make sure that not with all of those, but if some of those last more than 4 hours, that you see a physician.
They gain another
cleric, if you will.
A cleric, if you will, yeah. They gain another one at 10th and 17th level. So a max level sorcerer basically gets 4 of these options. A sorcerer can use only one Metamagic option on a spell when they cast it, unless otherwise noted. There are quite a few that say, hey, you can use this with another one.
Yeah.
I'm a twofer.
I get
is what it says.
This is BOGO Metamagic. That's the thing, is every sorcerer I've built on the show, I've extended it with feats and try to do more metamagic because it's so good.
Yeah, and there's a very, very nice metamagic feat that we're going to talk about in today's episode as well.
Sorcerer, my favoriteest class I've never actually played.
Yeah, Sorcerer is a great class. So we're going to go over each metamagic option, talk about its strengths, weaknesses, and creative uses, and we will, or at least I will, rate each option on a 5-star scale for its usefulness, its creativity, and its flavor.
I'll do it too.
Nice. We will also go over the Metamagic Adept feature in the same way. So is there anything you want to say before we start getting into these specific Metamagic options?
I'm here for improv.
You're here? Okay, sounds good.
That's all I want to say.
We're going through this in alphabetical order, and we're starting with Careful Spell. So the Careful Spell option. When you cast a spell that forces other creatures to make a saving throw, you can protect some of those creatures from the spell's full force. To do so, you spend 1 sorcery point and choose a number of those creatures up to your charisma modifier, minimum of 1. A chosen creature automatically succeeds on its saving throw against the spell.
That's cool. Can you imagine if you had the ability to do that
and then you didn't?
And you didn't, and your friends knew? I was like, I've seen you do that. What the fuck, man? It's like, look, dude, I think I needed another round.
Fuck, I got to spend the sorcery point or they're going to be mad at me.
Look, I needed this to do more damage next turn.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Yeah. My bad. This is an option that I think can fool some newer to the game or the class into thinking it's a better pick than it is. Sorcerers are notorious blaster masters, and being able to mitigate damaging your allies as you explode everything seems like a no-brainer. But the truth is, you can achieve the goal of this metamagic option, not hurting your friends is the goal here, without spending any sorcery points most of the time. Usually you could just avoid hitting your allies by positioning your spells better. Just do it better.
Hey, how about you fucking stand in the right place, my guy?
Or how about, just communicate. Just say, hey, I'm going to throw a fucking fireball. Don't stand near the big bad right now.
Yeah, maybe earlier, I guess it's the campaign dependent. Maybe you haven't had time. It's been touch and go.
Don't get me wrong. This option exists for a reason. There are instances where it could be useful. I'm just saying you will probably not need this option nearly as much as you would think before you actually are out there doing the thing. This should be reserved for situations where it would be unavoidable otherwise to hit your opponent. But if you're thinking strategically, if you're an open communicator, it won't come up nearly as often as it would otherwise.
That makes sense. Yeah. I guess you could get bottlenecked, right? And then you're all
you're kind of
I gotta do my big spell, but I can not kill everyone.
Right. And another thing too is you might simply want to just choose a different spell in that situation. There's lots of spells. You probably know a lot of them. Plenty of spells target only enemies.
Everything you're saying is coming to me on an in-party scenario where everyone's really pissed off about the last combat.
There's other spells. You don't have to cast fireball every time.
You didn't have to do that. You just didn't have to. We had it.
Or you could cast a buff or an area control spell until a more opportune time comes.
Why couldn't you just let Todd rage in the front line? He was doing fine.
He was doing fine.
And then you burned him. You burned his whole back.
Yeah, you did. You really did. Furthermore, this feature is not great for spells that do some damage on a save. Half a fireball spell still fucking hurts.
Yeah, still fire.
Plus, and this is the most poignant point to me, it kind of stings that the Evocation Wizard has the Sculpt Spells feature that allows them to do no damage whatsoever to their allies, regardless of save damage and without using any resource to boot.
I know, it's just passive.
They could just never hurt friends ever. And meanwhile, you got to spend a resource to still kind of hurt your friends.
I know, you got to, what does spending sorcery points look like? You get a headache?
Yeah, I picture sorcery points and metamagic and all that stuff is it's almost like a physical, or maybe a mental willpower thing. So you become more exhausted the more you spend.
Yeah, you get Vegeta veins in your face.
Yeah, yes, absolutely.
Sorry, I tried not to hurt you.
Still, sometimes as a sorcerer, you need to drop a fireball or some other big AoE spell on an enemy, and you don't have a way of avoiding hitting your allies. In these cases, Careful Spell is it could be worse option. So, I'm about to rate Careful Spell. Mm-hmm. I give Careful Spell 2 out of 5 stars for its usefulness. It's useful sometimes, but most of the time you probably didn't really need it if you thought about it a little better. I'm giving it a 1 out of 5 for creative uses. It's got one use. Don't hurt your friends. You can't really get that creative with it. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. And I give it a 4 out of 5 flavor for the crazed pyromaniacal sorcerer route. I don't give a shit. I'm dropping bombs. I'll Careful Spell it. But I'm crazy and I ain't gonna stop.
Okay. Okay.
Giving Careful Spell a total of 2.5 out of 5 star rating.
Yeah, I think I am variable. I think I would rate it even less for creative uses. I think I would put it down at a 3, and maybe.
Well, no, it's out of 1 for creative uses. I put it at 4 or 5 for flavor. You want to put it at
4
3?
out of 5. I meant for flavor. Oh yeah, 1 out of 5. I might still bump that up to a 2, and then the 4 out of 5. Maybe I'll scale that back and also give this a 2.5 out of 5 star rating.
All right, so we settle about the same for that one. All right, next let's talk about Distance Spell. So, Distance Spell. When you cast a spell that has a range of 5 feet or greater, you can spend 1 sorcery point to double the range of the spell. When you cast a spell that has a range of touch, you can spend 1 sorcery point to make the range of the spell 30 feet.
That's good.
Yes. Touch spells in particular are buffed by this option, but most touch spells are utility or healing focused, and sorcerers as a class do not get a good spread of touch spell options at all.
Oh, well, that's important.
Yes, it's important to note that. A cleric with a Metamagic Adept feat or Celestial Sorcerer are the most likely to want to consider this option for better healing at a distance.
Okay, so if you feat into healer.
Yeah, or if you go to Celestial Sorcerer route, which gets a lot of heal spells.
Okay,
Those
cool.
are the 2 main ones that Distance Spell is good for, because it's like Cure Wounds is touch. Not anymore, it ain't. I'm going to Cure Wounds you from back here. The fact is that most spells generally have enough range to get the job done. That's how they were designed.
Right.
Making Distance Spell a situational option at best for most sorcerers. It would be nice if you could use Distance Spell with cones, but cones have a range of self and an area effect, so they don't qualify for it.
Really?
Yeah, you can't double like a 30-foot cone. You can't turn it into a 60-foot cone.
Oh, but you can cast it from 30 feet away from you, and then it'll still get 30 feet of range?
No, because it has a range of self. And that doesn't count. It had a range of touch.
I see.
Or a range of 5 feet or more.
There we go.
Yeah, and that's the problem with Distance Spell.
Bummer.
And maybe one could argue that if you could double the range of your area effects, it would be way too powerful. But I don't know. Maybe just make it more expensive. Maybe have it like this, and then say, okay, and if you apply it to a AOE spell, it costs 3 sorcery points or something like that. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
It could potentially be better than it is.
Yeah.
I think a lot of players, especially newer players that are looking at the game in a big picture way, have a lot of trouble like with these types of rules. Like it was easy to misunderstand that, and it's easy to misunderstand your spells if you don't read them carefully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Read your stuff carefully before your games. It helps out a lot.
Yeah,
I'm
it helps
super
out a
guilty
lot.
of it.
We all are.
We came back from hiatus on Super Quest Saga, and I forgot. I pretty much got the spell, but something bad happened. I forgot was going to happen.
Right,
if I did
right.
a thing, I was like, oh man, I should have maybe not did something else, but it would have been nice to be aware.
Yeah, going in.
I was on mic.
I think another thing too is like something like Distance Spell to a new player sounds great, right? It's like, oh, my spells can go further. That sounds super useful.
Yeah, why
except for
not? Why
when
not?
you're used to actual 5e combat, you understand that probably isn't going to come into play.
Yeah, it's super important to note like the limitations here, I think, to understand fully.
So let's rate Distance Spell, unless you have anything else you want to add.
I want to rate this thing.
All right, I gave Distance Spell a 2.5 out of usefulness. It's pretty much the same as the last one. It is useful, but when it's useful, it's probably useful because you fucked up in the first place.
Okay.
I give it a 2.5 out of creativity. It does one thing. It just makes your spell go further. The touch spell thing, you can get creative in that regard. Like you can find your touch spells and try and extend those, but that's pretty much the limit for creativity. And for flavor, again, it just makes things go further. I don't really see big flavor on this one, so I give the option a total of 1.5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah, flavor was the biggest thing. I was trying to think of like, what does it look like when I do a distance heal?
Yeah.
Like it looks like
just
a heal.
Yeah, just like a distance heal. That's what it looks like.
Charles Xavier. Like
Yeah, or whatever.
yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and agree with you on all these here.
Yeah,
and go with the 1.5. To put it into a little perspective for every sorcerer we've built, I don't think I've ever picked these first 2 as my final.
Yeah.
There's clearly better options.
There's clearly
which we're
better
gonna
options,
be getting
yeah.
into.
Unless you're going for a very specific build with either of the two. Like
Yeah.
if you're going for the maniac who only blows things up because that's what you want to roleplay and that's fun, that's a perfectly respectable way to approach the game. And yeah, maybe Careful Spell is exactly what you want.
Or have fun up front, doing that so your companions
Yeah.
are not in the blast zone.
Yeah. And
But everything we've said can be turned on its head with like, I want to play a character that does this specific
Exactly.
thing.
Like maybe you want to be a sorcerer that specifically runs with the gimmick of like, I know only touch spells, but they're all at 30 feet because I like to distance them.
Yeah.
Like you could do that. All right, next, Empowered Spell. So when you roll damage for a spell, You could spend 1 sorcery point to reroll a number of the damage dice up to your charisma modifier. If you're a sorcerer, I mean, you're gonna have at least a charisma mod of 3, probably, unless you're bad at your job.
You should have 2 or 3.
Yeah, I would imagine
wanted,
4, ideally. And 5 endgame. You must use the new rolls. You can use Empowered Spell even if you've already used a different Metamagic option during the casting of the spell. So this is one of those options of like, you casted Careful Spell, or you used Careful Spell for your Fireball, but then you rolled really bad Fireball damage. Well,
which happens.
Well, you can also use Empowered on top of that. Although that's fucked up because if you had to use Careful Spell, it means that you hit allies, and now you're empowering it. You're a jerk.
It's what I like I have a good idea for flavor here that I'll bring up later.
Okay, sounds good.
What empower, like you roll real shit, you know, like, and then see what happens. We'll get there.
Okay, all right. The option becomes more useful the more dice you're rolling. The effectiveness grows as you add more dice because you are more likely to roll runs as you add additional dice. Also, the larger the damage dice values are, D6 versus D12, the more bang for your buck you get out of re-rolling pesky 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
You don't want to use this on every spell that you cast, but if you're hitting 3+ targets with an AoE spell with lots of dice and the 1 point cost, the sorcery point, is definitely worth it. So, less situational than the first 2 we talked about, but yeah, you do want to think about like, well, okay, does the spell have enough dice where it's actually worth me doing this, and are the dice of big enough value where it's worth me doing this?
Yeah, I think this is something that's worth for sure, especially situational.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
When you can be like, I rolled shitty damage die, I'm gonna buff it after the fact.
Right.
That's pretty good.
And also, as we said before, it is an exception to the 1 Metamagic option per spell roll, which is nice. Like it's nice that it's flexible in that way.
Yeah.
It's pretty straightforward though. Make boom bigger.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to it before we rate it?
Large boom better than medium boom.
Yes,
better
definitely.
than small boom.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. So I give Empowered Spell a 3.5 or 3 out of 5 for usefulness. It's great for some things, but not for others. A 3 out of 5 for creativity. Mathematically deducing optimal usages is fun for some people. And that's a type of creativity if you ask me. So I give it a 3 out of 5.
I agree with that.
And a 3 out of 5 for flavor. Big spell, go boom boom is always fun. Giving it a total rating of 3 out of 5 stars.
I'm going to go ahead and give it the 3 out of 5 for usefulness, the 3 out of 5 for creativity. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 for flavor.
Yeah.
Because I love the idea of like a tiny power, the tiny puff going off and the empower like re-triggering whatever the ignition is on the fireball.
Yeah.
Like
It's like a false start.
A second blast.
I like that. That's fun.
Boom, like, no more.
Yeah, okay. Cool. I like it.
And like character can do like a thrust. You know,
A thrust.
yeah, just like an air thrust, like and the spell does more.
Yeah, absolutely.
More boom.
Absolutely.
Stack those
Okay,
booms.
so that was Empowered Spell. Next, we are talking about Extended Spell.
Right.
So Extended Spell. When you cast a spell that has a duration of 1 minute or longer, you can spend 1 sorcery point to double its duration to a maximum duration of 24 hours.
Oh, geez, did you even get that many points? Like later on?
I think by level 20 you have 20 points, and if you take the Metamagic Adept feat, you get another 2. So you could theoretically have 22 points by level 20.
Okay.
Many fantastic buffs have short durations, and extending could theoretically save you the trouble of casting the same spell twice. However, not every spell justifies increasing its duration. Spells with 1 minute durations can be extended. 1 minute durations can be extended to 2 minutes, but few fights last more than 10 rounds, which is 1 minute.
Right.
So, like, you probably don't want to spend it on that. The thing is, you have to spend it at the time that you cast the spell.
Oh my god!
So,
we've had 20-round fights.
You don't want to do it. They're long. They're long.
They're very, unless you're all fighters, right? And swing my sword. I swing my sword.
It's just a bunch of D20 rolls.
I run over here
and
and swing my sword.
True.
Like then 20-round fights are not as bad, but they're bad for other reasons, which is like complicated from the DM standpoint.
Right. And then on top of that, the spell will still probably only last you 1 encounter if you extend it, because you're not very likely to go to do like a 5-round encounter and then 30 seconds later get into another 5-round encounter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just probably not going to happen.
And we really don't set up sessions like that because it causes issues to not let players rest in between.
So extend spell is not great for 1 minute spells usually. Spells with 10 minutes to an hour durations are more likely to be stretched across multiple encounters though. And even if not, 20 minutes to 2 hours of buffs can be useful for dungeon exploration depending on the spell you used. Spells with durations of multiple hours, 4, 6, 8, can be extended to last entire adventuring days if you wish, which could be useful.
That sounds great.
Yeah, Dark Vision is what comes to mind.
Yeah, if you don't already have it.
Yeah, if you don't already have it, yeah.
If you had to spend a spell on Dark Vision, you could at least make it be like all day long. Can you imagine just nagging yourself? What is that, a second level spell? First level spell?
It's I want to say it's a third level spell.
It's that big? Really?
It might be. No, that might be the darkness spell. The darkness spell is
Darkness
third level.
spell should be, yeah.
Yeah, you feel free to look it up.
I'm going to look it up.
The usefulness of extended spell depends heavily on your spell selection and creative uses. Spells that stuck out for me involve ease of travel, water walk or fly, for example. Being able to double your amount of time to do that super awesome travel could be very useful.
Or like, do you get entangle, or is that like a druid thing? Like stuff like that cause difficult terrain.
Yeah, sure, that could be useful as well. Being able to either for double the time could be the difference in escaping or outrunning something in unfavorable terrain. Dark vision or seeming also come to mind as useful spells to extend. If you are trying to make yourself look like something completely different, you probably have need to do so.
I see.
And being able to do so for much, much longer is probably better.
Okay, you can also give somebody else dark vision with the spell, but it is second level.
Okay, yeah,
So it's okay to cast.
Sure, yeah. Underdark travel or traveling in a place with hostile creatures is made easier by requiring less spell slots to be consumed in the case of both dark vision and seeming. So,
Nice, okay.
Anything you want to add before we rate?
Actually, I like this one in with the context you gave it. I think that's all these are context based.
Oh, so many of them are, yeah. I give extended spell a 3 out of 5 for usefulness. It is not useful all the time, but when it is very useful. 4 out of 5 for creativity. The more creative you are with this, the more useful it will be. And 2 out of 5 for flavor, giving it a total of 3 out of 5 star rating.
Okay. I kind of like I like the creativity is good. I'm good with that rating.
Yeah.
Flavor, I think I'd probably bump that up to a 3. I think you
think so?
I think you can get pretty creative with this, because I thought more of like, when you're playing in a type of game that a ranger would be good in, like truly, like when you have to use those types of mechanics, this is kind of harbors over to that. So maybe it could be like, depending on what kind of sorcerer you are, drawing that ability in, using your sorcery points to like get a feel for the area and like causing it to extend your spells based on like a need.
Okay.
Like less, like more like I need the thing I need, and less like I'm gonna do this spell and have it be twice as long as
you're basically flavoring it as if like there's sheer willpower, you're making it extend longer. Like you need this, so you're making it happen.
Yeah, I think I can make you see in the dark. It's just taking a lot longer than I thought it would. Like I need more time, and then the stress of it kind of spends the point. And
that's that. I could see that being a good flavor for it. Okay, next up, Heightened Spell. When you cast a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw to resist its effects, you can spend 3 sorcerer points to give one target of the spell disadvantage on its first saving throw made against the spell. Few things suck as much as casting a powerful spell only for the target to save successfully and to suffer no effect.
Yeah.
This not only did you waste a precious spell slot, but you've wasted an entire turn and you feel like you're bad at magic. So use Heightened Spell on almost every save or suck spell you cast to avoid this terrible fate. So that's where Heightened Spell comes into effect.
Sure.
You want to use it on something that, like, if they save, nothing happens. Because that's probably what you want to avoid more than anything.
Right.
So that's where Heightened Spell, I think, shines.
I mean, it's good in anything that makes the save, whether it's going to hit for half or not.
Yeah, it's just
but
like...
it's most potent in those situations.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like, on stuff that's like, well, they saved, but they still take half damage, maybe don't use Heightened Spell on that, unless you really need to.
Especially if it's hitting multiple people.
Yeah, but if it's on something like, oh, if they save against this and nothing happens, then that was a wasted turn, that's where Heightened Spell is going to be the most useful. So I created a list of sorcerer spells that are save or suck spells.
Save or suck.
So Charm Person.
Oh my God. When you're trying to charm somebody too, it's like usually pretty make or break.
Yeah.
Like this is going to determine if we get caught or not.
Exactly, yeah. Detect Thoughts, Levitate, Suggestion, Web, Banishment, Polymorph, Disintegrate, Hold Person or Hold Monster, Fear, Hypnotic Pattern, and Slow.
Oh my God, Hold Person and Monster.
You
is
have
so
experience with Slow failing.
Yes.
Yes, and it sucked, didn't it? It was horrible.
It was not great, although I hit one of the targets, and it was very important to hit at least one target. And if there was going to be one target I hit, it should have been that one.
Yeah.
So,
but imagine if you could have heightened the spell.
if that would have gone off on everybody, they would have been in deep shit.
Oh yeah. Well, let's look at this. Let me see here.
I'm talking about Super Quest Saga.
I know you are. So let me see. When you cast the spell, the first is a creature make. You can. Okay, so you have to spend 3 sorcerer points for one targeted disadvantage. It would have been cool if it would have been all targets, but maybe
That sounds
be too
OP
OP.
because of spells like slow.
Yeah, you're right.
Slow is so good.
Yeah.
Or like confusion, I think is a spell that
Is that save or suck?
I know it does. I'll look that up because I know it does a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. But these are the spells where you might want to, if you're taking these spells, if you're planning on using these spells, I would consider taking Heightened Spell as your option because you don't want to try and polymorph something and then nothing happens. You don't want to try and hold person and then nothing happens,
Right.
et cetera, et cetera. So,
that spell is not called confusion, but it causes confusion.
okay.
I just can't remember what the name of the spell is off the top of my head, but Percy has it.
Okay. I don't remember either, but
She did it in Hell.
to all the devils, right?
To all the devils.
It wasn't confusion?
Is that I tried to look up the spell by that name and it didn't come up.
Okay. Well, is there anything you want to add to Heightened Spell before we rate it?
No, I really like Heightened Spell. I think it's one of the ones I almost always take.
Yeah, it's one of the better ones, I think. So I give Heightened Spell a 5 out of 5 for usefulness. When you need it, you really, really need it. A 3 out of 5 for creativity. In this case, strategic use, and a 3 out of 5 for flavor, giving it a total of 4 out of 5 stars.
Cool. Yeah, I like 4 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna bump up the flavor to 4 just because I feel like I could, like, I don't know, I like leaning back like JoJo style and like pointing your finger with the loose wrist, like you
For sure.
You suck ass.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you could flavor
That's
it like that.
good flavor.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's telling people they suck and then
Well-
making them do bad.
Yeah, making them feel bad at
Because
the
of it.
same time. Let's take a short rest.
Okay. We've returned.
Indeed, we have.
Check us out on Patreon. I just want to say real quick, sorry about all those ads. We got doubled up on accident, sort of.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We did do that, but we're changing the way we do ads. So it's
Yeah,
really
we're
come
trying
out.
to do some cleanups of old ads, too. So we're working on stuff.
Yeah.
All right. You ready to talk about the Sorcerer?
No, just kidding. Yeah.
All right, cool. Because now we are about to talk about the creme de la creme, the big one, the one that everyone wants to talk about, the one that everyone loves.
The big cream.
Quicken Spell.
Oh, yeah. Everybody loves it faster.
Not everyone.
Oh.
But no, I don't know. But when you cast a spell, that's a casting time of 1 action, and you can spend 2 sorcery points to change the casting time to 1 bonus action for this casting.
Dang.
So this is all about action economy.
Yeah.
This is
You
go
can't
ahead.
take 2 bonus actions in a turn, though.
No, you can't.
Okay.
You
This is
can't.
getting weird.
Yeah, this is one of the. It is weird because in 4th edition you could swap an action for a minor action, and you could do 2 minor actions in the same turn. You could do 3 minor actions in the same turn if you wanted to.
Is there so minor?
Because no, it's just you had a movement, a minor, and an action, right?
And you had some ability that was like, do 1 more minor action.
You could swap an action down for a movement or for a minor, and you could swap a movement down for a minor. So theoretically, you could do 3 minor actions if you wanted to.
I like that.
Yeah, but you can't do that in 5e.
Can't
Nope.
do that in 5e.
Back to
There's
quick-
all kinds of weird rules that you can't do, like how you can cast spells with what action economy in the same turn. So
Yeah.
you could probably kick a guy.
You could definitely kick a guy. So this is one of the very few options which allows you to, quote unquote, break the action economy, and it's absolutely worth the cost. Cast a 1 action spell and a cantrip in 1 turn. And that is just the tip of the iceberg for its uses. The temptation to use it constantly can be difficult to resist, but use this selectively as repeated use will shred your sorcery point resources quite quickly. So this option has some serious wombo combos, Brian.
Wombo combo. Wombo combo.
I'm sure you're aware of some of them.
Wombo combo.
It's not the reaction I was expecting, but
You said wombo combo.
I did say wombo combo because that's what this feature is all about.
You know where that's from, right?
No, I've actually no idea. I just know you say it.
Oh, it's from,
That's why I said it.
It's from Melee.
Oh, is it?
It's from a team battle. It's a commentary call from Melee. Competitive Melee.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Really funny. Really funny YouTube video. Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
He's like, wombo combo. Wombo combo. Yeah. Anyway.
All right, so I made a list of some of the more interesting ones. There is a spell called Sunbeam.
There is. You're absolutely Will. I'm going to tell you that you're spot on when you say that there
Yes.
is a spell called Sunbeam.
And it meshes with this option very well. because I'm going to read Sunbeam to you, and then we're going to talk about how it will be useful.
I do like how in the notes coming up after Wombo Combo, it does say Sunbeam times 2, and that's got me real stoked because I like when you do spells twice.
So a beam of brilliant light flashes from your hand on a 5-foot wide, 60-foot long line. Each creature in the line must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 6d8 radiant damage and is blinded until your next turn. On a successful save, it takes half as much damage and isn't blinded by the spell. Undead and Oozes have disadvantage on the saving throw. Here's the fun part. You can create a new line of radiance as your action on any turn until the spell ends. This spell lasts for a total of 1 minute. So we're talking about 10 rounds. So the way you would use this is you would cast Sunbeam, and then you would use Quicken spell, so it only takes 1 bonus action, and you would do a 68 radiant damage in a huge ass fucking line, and then you have a whole other action to then do it again because that's part of the spell. It's not you're not casting a spell with your action. You are re-triggering the spell with your action, which is allowed.
I see. Okay.
So it's create a line of brilliance and then create another line of brilliance. It's 2 times.
So when your opponent tells you that they are inevitable, you can tell them that you are Iron Man.
Exactly.
Sunbeam twice.
That's exactly right. And then theoretically, if you wanted to like burn through your sorcery points, you can then continue to cast spells for the duration of this spell as long as you quicken them, and then you still have the action to keep popping off your Sunbeam. So you can Sunbeam twice, and then if you have sorcery points, cast spell Sunbeam.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So you could just be an absolute monster. This is like when you're trying to let the party escape, you know, from the fucking whatever's going to kill everyone, the Kraken. It's like, oh, hold them off, guys, get out of here.
This is like Tien and Cell. Like, I just keep doing it over and over again.
Tien, he's dying.
Exactly.
It's killing him.
He's using all his sorcery points.
I like the TFS
You
one.
go fuck yourself. Yeah. All right.
So I was like, what the fuck, man?
All right. So another thing you do is do a Mind Sliver opener to a big bad spell. So Mind Sliver is a cantrip, and I believe we have access to it as a sorcerer, and I'm going to read it. You drive a disorienting spike of psychic energy into the mind of one creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on an intelligence saving throw or take 1d6 psychic damage. And subtract 1d4 from their next saving throw it makes before the end of your next turn. So a few things here. Intelligence saving throw. That's usually great. Most monsters are really stupid. So this is fantastic already. We're starting strong.
Intelligence saving throw is the worst saving throw.
Yeah, for most people and things. Psychic damage, great. Almost nothing resists that. So we're doing great.
Yep.
And if you quicken this spell and turn it into a bonus action, you have a very sexy full action to cast whatever the hell you want.
Okay. Speaking of sexy, what website are you on? They're blasting you with 2 ads of dudes kissing.
This 15 celebs who are, and then it goes
making out, apparently. Yeah.
Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi. I don't know who that is.
I know who Ellen DeGeneres is.
Yes, I know who that is. I don't know who the second person is.
Is that her wife?
Anyways, stop looking at my sexy ads, Brian.
Okay.
All right. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So psychic damage, the negative d4 to the next spell. So what you want to do here is you're going to cast Mind Sliver quickened, and then you're going to subtract a d4 from their next saving throw. So you want to cast something that is going to devastate them if they fail.
Yeah.
So Mind Sliver opener to a big bad spell.
A big bad spell.
That's a really good use of quickening spell.
Sunbeam.
Another wombo combo. Double Eldritch Blast for Warlock multi-class.
That's pretty good.
Yes. Eldritch Blast is the best cantrip in the game, damage-wise. What's great is cantrips level with your character level, not your class level.
Right.
So all you got to do is dip in 1 level of Warlock to get the Eldritch Blast. And at high levels, what? Like at 5th level, what is it? 2 blasts?
You're doing 2 blasts, and then
at 10th level,
10 or 11, you're doing 3.
Okay, so at 11th level, a single Eldritch Blast is 3 individual blasts.
Yes.
With
3 die rolls.
Yes, with Quicken Spell, you can now do it twice. That's 6 blasts on a turn. That is a very respectable use of your Quicken Spell.
It's a lot of blasts.
It's a lot of blasts.
What's it, a D10? Damage?
It's a D10 damage plus your charisma modifier, which will be high if you're a sorcerer.
Yes, and also if you're a warlock, but yes, if you're a sorcerer. So you could probably take a feat, like a Eldritch Initiate feat, to get like a warlock cantrip too. You don't necessarily have to multi-class.
Yeah, exactly. That's very true. But the point is, like, if you can get Eldritch Blast as a sorcerer and then use Quicken Spell on it, you're doing a lot of beams. And like each one of those has the potential to crit too on top of it.
So many beams.
Yeah, so many beams. All the beams. Let me see here. Next up, I have for cleric specifically. This is what I wrote, and I did this a long time ago, so I'm gonna have to look at the spells to figure it out. For clerics, Spirit Guardians plus Sanctuary plus Keep Dodging is what I wrote. So let's see here. Spirit Guardians. Let's read this. You call forth spirits to protect you. They flit around you to a distance of 15 feet for the duration. If you are good or neutral, their spectral forms appear angelic or fey, your choice. If you're evil, they appear fiendish. When you cast a spell, you can designate any number of creatures that you can see to be unaffected by it. An affected creature's speed is halved in the area, and when a creature enters the area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d8 radiant damage, or necrotic if you're evil. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage. So essentially, you have created a zone where ghosts are fighting for you.
Yeah.
15 feet around
The
you.
ghost zone, if you will.
The ghost zone. Not only are enemies in the ghost zone having to take ghost zone damage, but their speed is halved. So getting out of the ghost zone is actually difficult.
It's very treacherous to get out of the ghost zone.
So that's the first spell that's part of this wombo combo. The second spell is Sanctuary. You ward a creature within range against attack. No, you ward a creature within range against attack. That sounds like that's a.
You said the
typo.
same thing twice, and you said it and with different inflections, which made it sound like it did different things.
You
but
ward a creature within range against attack.
Can I get one more, please?
Am I reading this wrong? It should be against attacks, right?
You ward a creature within range against attack in general, just attack.
It should be attacks,
If
right?
they are attack, they are sanctuaried. I'm gonna call this.
This is a typo.
This is Danny Fenton's house. Outside of the place outside of the ghost zone.
Until the spell ends, any creature who targets the warded creature with an attack or harmful spell must first make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature must choose a new target or lose the attack or spell. The spell doesn't protect the warded creature from area effects such as explosion. So I think what you want to do here is cast Sanctuary on yourself, Quicken Spell Spirit Guardians, and just throw yourself into the enemy.
Oh,
and
wow.
let your
Yeah.
ghost do the damage.
Okay, yeah.
And then you just keep dodging.
Okay.
Because as long as you're dodging plus Sanctuary, they're never going to fucking hit you. And if they're in your zone, the ghosts are coming for them.
Dodge is a very powerful way to spend your turn.
Yes. As long as you've done the Sanctuary Spirit Guardian setup first if you're a
I
cleric.
think just in general.
Well, in general, yeah.
If
Dodge
you're
it.
like drawing aggro, but you don't have a good option, just dodge and give everybody
just dodge, bro.
Give everybody, literally, you're just going to give everybody disadvantage on attacks against you, and then your friends can come pick them off. They're all looking at you.
Yeah. So that's one wombo combo that I looked up that I really liked. And for the last one is the obvious one that I have to deal with every time we do Super Quest Saga, or at least I used to. Paladins who get their hands on Quicken Spell because they decided to be a sorcerer too. Haste for extra attacks, so you Quicken Spell haste, and then you just fucking obliterate with your attacks and smites.
Just start doing Smeet
You
days.
just because haste, I believe, gives you +2 to AC, gives you an extra attack
Yeah,
on top of your extra attacks.
Right, you get an extra action to be used on attack only. I'm
Yes,
pretty sure.
exactly.
Like important to know.
Yeah, and then on top of it, smites don't take an action, even though I think they fucking should. I don't write the
what
rules,
does that
though.
work? You just say I do a smite.
Yeah, you do a smite.
This one's a smite.
This one's
that's how it works.
but you say it after you know you've hit too.
Yes, which
So-
is like stupid.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, like why do wizards have to there's a lot of rules in the game to mitigate a wizard's power and sorcerer's power. Like how we said, like missing a spell slot, missing an attack on a powerful spell is really shitty. And there's a way to circumvent that as a sorcerer.
Right.
But you take away that power, like you're kind of trading power when you don't make your spellcasters like track components, or like if you're not paying attention to like if they're bound or gagged, and the spell has a verbal component, like you gotta take these things into account, or like gold or whatever. Like you have to realize that you're trading that power out.
Yeah, there's a resource that's spent.
If your wizards seem hella powerful or whatever, it might be because you're not doing things right.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's rate Quicken Spell.
Okay.
I give Quicken Spell a 5 out of 5 for usefulness. It's so useful, it's stupid. I give it a 5 out of 5 for creativity. It rewards you for figuring out wombo combos.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Which is good.
Which is fantastic.
It sounds like a lot of them have been figured out already, too.
Yeah.
In Reddit threads,
Yeah,
likely.
and who knows how many that I don't know about. There's probably 10 times more that I don't know about.
Ooh, tell us your favorite wombo combo with sorcerers.
Please
in the
do.
comments.
And I give it a 5 out of 5 for flavor because the wombo combos are so juicy and flavorful.
It tastes so good.
Yes. It's a perfect 5-star Metamagic option. End of story.
Yeah, this is the best one.
It's the best one.
I
It's
think
the one
I think
you
it's
need.
just, if you're gonna pick one, and if you could only pick one,
You're picking this
probably
one.
should be this one.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm totally with you.
All right. Moving on to Subtle Spell. When you cast a spell, you can spend 1 sorcerer point to cast it without any somatic or verbal components.
Damn, I was just talking about how like this shit's important.
It is. You were. Situational is what I'm going to say here for this one. In most cases, you generally won't care if someone hears or sees you casting a spell, but the number of situations where this is useful is larger than some would think. In social situations, especially where casting a spell might be considered rude or might cause problems, Subtle Spell can solve a lot of those problems when it comes to subterfuge and stealth. Because Subtle Spell also removes the verbal and somatic components of spells, it may be difficult or impossible for enemy spellcasters to counterspell simply because they don't know that it's happening in the first place.
Okay.
Spells without an obvious visual component and without components provided by the spellcaster are essentially undetectable short of something like Detect Magic.
This reminds me of Raven from Teen Titans.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kashi always has to say the same magic words to do magic.
Oh, she does, yeah.
And says them loudly and proudly.
Yes, absolutely.
That might not always be great.
No, it might not.
This makes it so you don't have to Ocean's 11 style like sneak to the kitchen to do a magic. You know, the noisy kitchen at the restaurant or whatever. Where you're trying to,
I
blah, blah,
barely
blah, blah.
remember.
I'm just, it's not from, I'm not directly
okay.
scooping off Ocean's 11 because they don't do, the only magic they do is heisting.
Right.
But like
The
in
best magic ball.
like you're at a grand hall with the fucking lords and ladies and you need to like do a magic real quick, but you can't do it because
right.
it's verbal or you
Yes,
got to start waving
exactly.
your fucking, you're doing a rave in the middle of the room and then everyone's like, what the fuck is
What
this
are
guy
you
doing
doing?
magic for?
Yeah.
Right? Guards.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
you sneak off to the noisy kitchen to do your magic and then you can come back out and
Right.
smell like lobster.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Removing the need to provide verbal or semantic components also allows you to cast spells in some situations which would normally prevent you from doing so, such as while you are in a magical silence or while restrained.
Yeah.
So, like if you are captured in some way, Subtle Spell is going to come in very useful.
Yeah. And if you're captured in certain ways, you can build a suit made of iron where you can cast a double sunbeam out of the hands.
Absolutely, you can.
That's a great way to fuck up enemy wizards. By the way, is put them if like you gotta ask your DM sometimes because maybe they're not saying the magic words that the caster is saying.
Right.
They're like, oh, it's reliant. You can tell Arcana check it's reliant on the verbal component, and you can just drop a silence bubble on them.
Absolutely. So let's rate Subtle Spell. I give Subtle Spell 3 out of 5 for usefulness. It's one of those things where it is situational, but its usefulness for the situations it's useful for is very high. 5 out of 5 for creativity. This rewards you thinking about your situation and applying this option creatively. And 2 out of 5 for flavor. I just don't see a great way of flavoring this in a way that sounds like, fun. Just like you don't move and the spell happens.
I can think of one thing. So
Sure.
Those are. Oh, go ahead and give your total.
Giving it a total of 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Cool. I'm going to go ahead and give it for usefulness. I'm going to give it a 2.5 and bump that down a little bit. I think it's very heavily dependent on a DM on when this becomes useful and not necessarily dependent on you. So you're just waiting for somebody to give you the chance to do this.
True.
It might never come up. It's really good if you're a dungeon master to read your players' character sheets and to try and understand how they're going to try to approach the adventure.
Right.
So that you can help them utilize their abilities in either a cool way or be like, hey, I need to figure out a way for my plot point to hit, and I know they have this thing, so I need to like bypass that somehow. One or the other. You should be doing both. I'm gonna go ahead and give it the 5 out of 5 for creativity. You do have to be creative to do this right. For flavor, I'm gonna go ahead and bump that up to a 3 because I really like what's that meme with that kid sitting at the desk and he's got like blonde, short, curly hair. The veins are like all over him.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
You make that face because you like.
Well, that's not very subtle, Brian.
No, you just like.
He's just straining.
Yeah,
like, are you okay?
I need to say it to do the magic, but I have to stop myself, and that takes sorcery
Oh
points.
my gosh.
That's
Okay.
cool. I'm only bumping up the flavor because I'm coming up with a flavor on the spot.
Yeah,
I was
absolutely.
like, okay, I'll give it a little more.
That's fair. All right, moving on. Twin spell.
That's another one of my favorites.
This is another big one.
Everybody likes twins.
Everyone likes twins. When you cast a spell, that targets only one creature and doesn't have a range of self. You can spend a number of sorcery points equal to the spell's level to target a second creature in range with the same spell.
Mm-hmm.
One sorcery point if the spell is a cantrip. This is great for Eldritch Blast. We'll talk about it later. To be eligible, a spell must be incapable of targeting more than one creature at the spell's current level. For example, Magic Missile and Scorching Ray aren't eligible, but Ray of Frost and Chromatic Orb are. A lot of fantastic spells like Haste and Polymorph target single creatures and require concentration. This allows you to affect two creatures at the same time. Double Haste and double Polymorph is exceptionally fucking powerful.
I mean, yeah.
Like, absolutely game changing.
Haste by itself can break the combat.
Yeah, and if you can haste both your fighter and your paladin, or both your fighter and your rogue, like, yeah, you're gonna be fighting real good as a team. Same with Polymorph. Like, let's say you're fighting, I don't know, a dragon and two fucking manticore under its power. Like, now those manticores are puppies. Like, you just took two of big minions off the table.
Minions.
This allows you to affect two creatures at the same time. However, the sorcery point cost scales with spell level, making Twin Spell the most expensive metamagic option out there.
I see. So you have to use the...
Yeah. Polymorph is a high level spell. That's a lot of sorcery points.
Do you have to use double, like if spells cost components and stuff? Are you burning double components to do
I
this?
think it's implied that you do not have to do that.
Yeah, because you need the component to cast a spell.
the sorcery points is the resource that is being spent to double this thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have your bat shit and you blow on it or whatever.
Like guano.
Yeah. Then
You don't need double bat shit, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, you do though, but not to do the twin.
No.
I mean, you want to do fireball twice, right? Because it consumes the bat shit.
I think so, yeah.
You need like a little pouch of bat shit.
Yep. You know, in the Dragonlance novels, I didn't know what the word guano meant.
Oh,
And-
is that how they're phrasing it?
Yes. And Raceland, amongst other wizards, are all constantly using bat guano for their spells. And I was just like, oh, that sounds cool, whatever that is. I was reading books about bat shit.
Yeah.
Anyways.
What did you think? It's just like
I didn't think, Brian. I just thought spells were cool.
It's just the grease from the wings.
I didn't think about. I was 7. I just didn't think about it. Anyways,
Yeah, they're doing magic bat guano, whatever that is.
Whatever
Cool.
that is, yeah.
Keep feeding me dragons.
you can also use this option offensively, which at low levels can be very efficient. Twinning spells like Chromatic Orb is a cost-efficient way to quickly deal damage to multiple targets at a minor cost of both resources and actions. Because I believe Chromatic Orb is a level 1 spell, and it's 3d8 damage, so it's good. It's a good spell.
Chromatic Orb is very good.
I like that spell a lot.
I was thinking about...
Like you do whatever element you want, and it's 3d8.
Yeah. Chromatic Orb. Isn't there a way to make your spells push people? Is that one of the metamagic things? Or
It might be. I
no,
don't think so.
I'm thinking of like invocations for Eldritch Blast. I think
Yes,
I'm
you are,
fucking up
yeah.
my warlock thing. Never mind, everyone. Sorry.
Just remember that the twin spell only works when the spell is only capable of targeting one creature, so you can't twin AoE spells, spells with secondary targets, spells with effects that other creatures can walk through, or spells that don't target creatures at all. I give twins... Oh, yeah. You got anything to add to this before we rate it?
I was just looking up Chromatic Orb because I wasn't sure about the damage, but poison.
Yeah,
it's 3d8.
Yeah, Chromatic Orb is for level 1 what Fireball is for level whatever the fuck level you get Fireball at.
It is a good spell. I like it. I like twinning it. You do like you know what EX moves are from Street Fighter? There's a mechanic where you can use your special bar to make a regular move do like double damage. I don't know if it's double damage, but it'll hit twice instead of once.
Oh, nice.
You do the Hadouken. It'll like double the Hadouken a little bit.
Oh, okay.
It'll like pat instead of just hitting for once. You know, so you pat.
It is similar to that.
And it would make a really cool whooshing noise when you did it. It would be like zoom.
Nice.
Good times. Chromatic
So
Orb is fun.
I give Twin Spell 5 out of 5 for usefulness. It's just so goddamn useful. It's double damage, or double whatever the fuck that you're doing. Whatever
times.
you're doing it's so nice you do it twice.
Another one.
2 out of 5 for creativity. It's just the same spell twice. I don't know how creative you can get with it. You just do it 2 times. And a 4 out of 5 for awesome flavor, giving it a total of 4 out of 5 stars.
I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you on every count here.
Every count here?
Good, yeah.
Nice.
4 out of 5 for flavor. It's where I like all the flavors to be.
All right, next up, Seeking Spell. If you make an attack roll for a spell and miss, you can spend 2 sorcery points to reroll the d20, and you must use the new roll. You can use Seeking Spell even if you have already used a different Metamagic option during the casting of this spell. So it's another one of those options where you can use it with other options. This may seem like the spell attack version of Heightened Spell, and in some ways it is, but not nearly as useful. Sorcerers get some unique spell options like Chromatic Orb and Chaos Bolt, which rely on attack rolls. And spending a spell slot only to miss with a leveled spell feels awful. But ultimately, there are just not a ton of spells that fit the parameters and are worth using sorcery points on, if you ask me. So basically what I'm trying to say here is there are not a lot of attack roll spells that the sorcerer gets that are worth using this on.
Right. Like, the only way this could be better is if there were more candidates to use it on.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly right. Again, it's pretty straightforward. It's basically giving yourself advantage in a way on a spell attack.
Sure.
And that's really all there is to it.
So another situationally good option here.
I give Seeking Spell 2 out of 5 stars for usefulness because, again, not a lot of options to use it on. 2 out of 5 for creativity because, again, it gives you advantage. There's really not a lot of ways to use it creatively. It does one thing. And 1 out of 5 for flavor because of the same reason. So I give it a total of 1.5 out of 5 stars.
I think it can be. I think you're selling it short on the flavor for sure.
You always think I am.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Well, one is really low when you have like the Piccolo versus Android 17 Hellfire Grenade, where he misses all those shots on purpose. And then he's like, "You missed me," and then he like pulls them all in.
Okay, yeah, you could pretend like you did it on purpose.
Yeah,
and yeah. I love Hellfire Grenade. I love Piccolo.
Or you could just like you miss your blast, like you just like Dragon Ball. They just like miss and redirect the blast to like follow people around. They got spend.
Okay, I give it a 2 out of 5 for flavor then instead of 1 out of 5.
Oh, you're gonna change your rating.
Changing my rating.
Okay,
You've convinced me.
I'll go ahead and give it a 2. There might be something I haven't thought of here to make it be more flavorful. But I'm going to go ahead and stick with the 2 as well.
Okay, sounds good. All right, next up we have Transmuted Spell. This might be the last one. And then we're going to talk about some other things outside of the actual options themselves. Okay. When you cast a spell that deals a type of damage from the following list, you can spend 1 sorcery point to change that damage type to one of the other listed types. So Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Poison, and Thunder. So if you cast, I don't know, Call Lightning, it could be called Call Poison. Call Acid. Sorcerers get very few spells.
You just get fucking slimed like in Nickelodeon.
Absolutely. Sorcerers get very few spells known in comparison to like wizards and stuff. So the ability to change the damage type on favorites like Fireball allows you to rely on favorite spells even when damage resistances and immunities are a problem. So yeah, instead of Fireball, it could be Poison Ball or Ice Ball or whatever. This also makes it easier to enjoy the Elemental Adept feat, but try to avoid paying the sorcery point cost every time you cast a spell or you'll find yourself out of resources earlier in the day.
Yeah, you could really blow them all in a single like a big fight with a fire resistant creature might be the thing that makes you burn all your sorcery points.
Could be. So real quick, let's talk about the Elemental Adept feat. All you need to take the feat is able to cast at least 1 spell. When you gain this feat, choose one of the following damage types: Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, or Thunder. Spells you cast ignore resistance to the chosen type, and whenever you roll damage for a spell that deals damage of the chosen type, treat any ones as 2s. So this is great for if you want like a very thematic sorcerer, which is stuff I like to do. If you want to be all lightning all the time, but there's not enough lightning spells for you, feel free to pick spells that aren't those spells, but when you cast them, you can transmute them with your sorcery points. And then again, this feat makes all of your spells of that one damage type better.
Yeah, you're going to re-flavor all your damage, which is pretty powerful in this game because combats can be set up to really fuck you really hard because DM knows you're going to do a certain spell or whatever.
Right.
You know, and it's going to get eaten up or, you know, heal enemies randomly.
I mean, that happened less. Yeah, that happened less super quick.
It happens, guys.
It happens.
It's a thing. And there are lots of like, you know, fire is the most resisted type in the game, right? For damage.
Poison and then fire.
Poison and then fire. And, you know, it's super handy to change Firebolt over to Cold Bolt.
Yeah, exactly.
Not to be confused with kobolds, which are little dragon people that make traps.
Absolutely. So I give Transmuted Spell a 2 out of 5 for usefulness. It's situational, but when it's used, it's good. 4 out of 5 for creativity. I love theme builds, and this is how you do one. And a 5 out of 5 for flavor. Did I mention I love theme builds? A lightning or poison theme fireball sounds amazing to me. Giving it a total of 3 out of 5 star rating.
Considering I sort of designed an item for my wizard off of this.
That does this, yeah.
I find it to be slightly more useful. So I'll give it the 3. And I'll just go ahead and give it, I'm just going to give it the 5 out of 5 for the other 2 categories.
Oh, okay.
So I think this is really good.
Yeah, it's fun.
I think this really embodies the spirit of D&D in a lot of ways. By giving you the versatility that you want and crave and need. So yeah, I think this is great. I think I picked this on most of my sorcerers, or if I might not have picked it on C4PO because I don't think it mattered to me.
Yeah, it might not have mattered.
I think if I played a sorcerer, I'd almost always take that just because I think it's so fun.
It's pretty high on my list as well.
Yeah, just be Mega Man and like switch out your damage type like whenever like mid battle and shit. Like that's very good.
Indeed.
You're basically changing a spell out in a lot of ways. Like picking Firebolt is critical because of like, I'm going to do fire damage with this. So being able to change that, I think is really good.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about the feat Metamagic Adept. Metamagic Adept, prerequisite spellcasting or pack magic feature. You've learned to exert your will on your spells to alter how they function. You learn 2 metamagic options of your choice from the sorcerer class. You can use only 1 metamagic option on a spell when you cast it, unless the option says otherwise. Whenever you reach a level that grants the ability score improvement feature, you can replace one of your metamagic options with another one from the sorcerer class. You also gain 2 sorcery points to spend on metamagic. These points are added to any sorcery points you have from another source, but can be used only on metamagic. You regain all sorcery points when you finish a long rest. So, funnily enough, the class that benefits the most from this feat is the sorcerer itself.
Absolutely.
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 You get extra sorcery points and extra metamagic options, which just makes you plain better. It just makes you a way better sorcerer.
In all my builds that we've done on the show, I was hard pressed to take an ability score with this existing. Like, why the fuck? If I were going to play one in a real game, I would definitely be taking this.
Yeah, a sorcerer wants this.
Unless you like have a deficit you're really trying to ability score your way out of, for whatever reason that might be. This is probably what you should be doing as a metagamer.
Yeah, you should definitely take this as soon as you can. Eldritch Knight is another cool option to take this feat for hasted combat and hold person. Yeah, so again, getting that quicken spell and stuff. Hold person plus attack and action surge. So yeah, you're gonna fucking devastate someone with that combo.
You really could.
You're hasted, you hold person, and then you fucking just
slam
wallop them.
The beat down on them.
A Tempest Cleric plus transmuted spell is fantastic because they have a lot of stuff that boosts their lightning and thunder damage.
That's cool.
So if you get your hands on transmuted spell, you can turn some of your powerful cleric spells that do radiant damage. Nah, it does lightning damage now.
Pretty good, and it does more lightning damage. You're stacking your abilities together.
Exactly.
Getting creative.
So that's pretty much all I have about metamagic. There's a lot to it. You can get really creative with it. It is the reason that one wants to play a sorcerer for the most part, because no one, unless you take this feat, can do anything like metamagic in the game.
Yeah, it's literally designed to break the rules. I think it kind of like...
Yeah, which is why it's called metamagic, because it's very meta.
It's meta as fuck. It kind of subs in, because you're a little more limited in spells known as a sorcerer versus like a wizard. So making the spells you do know more versatile and powerful sort of balances that out.
Exactly.
It's a good class. Yeah, it's got a lot of cool... like, they just keep printing more and more like DLC, if you will, for the sorcerer too. Like, there's... the Tasha sorcerers are really powerful.
Yeah.
Isn't there sorcerer stuff in Fizzban? Was that a thing? Dragon Patron? Do they have that yet? Do we have Dragon Patron yet?
Patron for Warlock, no, but the Draconic
Dragon Sorcerer though,
is
right?
the first one that came out. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Dragon Bloodline.
That's
yeah. Cool. I will say, since we're talking about it, the Tasha. One of the reasons the Tasha sorcerers are powerful is because they get extra fucking spells, dude. They get like spells known for their theme, like Aberrant Mind, right? There's a bunch of psychic spells that you get on top of the spells that you know. So like, rather than by level 20 you only know 18 spells, you actually know like 26.
Pretty good.
Blatantly better than the original sorcerers that were coming out in the first few books.
There's always your DM can help your sorcerer be a better sorcerer too, with like scrolls and shit, and like giving you like boons to help you power up. Like, maybe somebody teaches you a spell, or like gives you the power to cast a spell at random. Like, hey, you can cast a spell now. You can always do that to buff up the other sorcerers in like mid game. If you feel, I want them to use this spell in the next like
I mean, you can do that if you want.
Yeah, and like the next dungeon, they're gonna need this, so like I'm gonna have them meet a character that teaches it to them, and then they could just like know that spell. It's like, don't forget that shit.
Yeah, you could do that, although that does take a little bit away from the wizard, that's kind of their thing, is they can learn as many fucking spells as they want.
Yeah, I mean,
it just depends on what you're trying to get out of your game and who's okay with what.
Right. You just if you're looking for things
like
to do with your sorcerer,
don't do that if there's a wizard in the party.
the wizard can they can find spell books full of bullshit too. Like you could lay down whatever you want in front of your players, but it's just all dependent on what you need and what you're trying to get out of the game.
Exactly. Okay, so I believe we can get ready for a long rest.
Yeah, let's extend the
rest.
Did I do it? Did I say the right thing?
I think you did.
Hey everybody, welcome to the long rest. This is Brian, your co-host of the Dungeoncast, ready to lay down and go to sleep. What's up with that?
You're tired. It's been a long episode. You're ready to have a long rest.
Yeah, man, he's right. So tired. Help me, Will. What are we doing?
Patreon shout out.
Patreon. You did it. You're guilty now. You said it. Patron shout outs.
I guess it is patron shout outs, but it's still Patreon shout outs.
I like, it's growing on me when people call themselves Patreons.
So that bugs me.
Hello, all my Patreons. We're going to shout you out now.
Thanks for supporting the show. It really helps out. As a matter of fact, it's one of the best ways to help us out is by going to Patreon and supporting us.
Yeah.
And you get a bunch of cool shit for it. So hope you guys are enjoying all the cool shit that we give you. And thank you again.
Yeah, and sorry again for all those ads. It was an accident. But if you want ad-free episodes, you could totally donate at $5 a month and get episodes early and ad-free. They'll still have long rests in them.
Because those aren't ads.
That's the way it works. Okay, so Patreon shout-outs. Zachary H. Beach.
Thank you, Zach.
Zachary.
Thank you, Zachary.
I don't know what that means, but thank you, Matthias Ose, I think.
Thank you, Matthias.
It's O-S-E. That's all I got for the last name.
Ose? Yeah,
Ose.
I think it's Ose.
Thank you, Matthias. So I'm pretty sure I would say Matthias.
Yeah.
Erica Mariana.
Thank you, Erica.
Thanks for your upgrade.
Indeed.
Thank you for your generous upgrade.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Christine Moore.
Thank you, Christine.
Welcome, Chris. Welcome. And also, Fascum.
Thank you, Fascum.
That's F-A-S-S-G-U-M. Fascum.
Thank you, Fascum.
Thank you, Fascum. We got Knife All Game. That's hyphenated in between each word. Knife All Game.
Thank you, Knife All Game.
What's up, Knife All Game? Get in there and stab some bonus content, Knife All Game. But don't stab anybody else. Yeah, it's a digital space, so like it's fine.
I'd rather you not stab anybody.
Don't stab anyone, please. Not on our behalf. If you're gonna do that, that's your business. But I'd prefer you didn't. Do it in the That's why we have Dungeons and Dragons. Do it in the fantasy space, Knife All Game.
True.
How do I say this one? Milagre?
Thank you, Milagre.
C?
Thank you, Milagre.
Milagre C. Milagre C. Thank you. Kason Hardy.
Thank you, Kasem.
Oh, I forgot to for Erica Mariana and Zachary H. Beach.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
There's one for each of you guys, too.
Yeah.
Okay. I do different things depending on what you came in on, what rate you came in at for Patreon or what tier you're coming into. This is like part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So shout you out harder. Do we want to do some more, Will? We got some more.
Yeah, let's do them all.
Did we already do Zach Downing?
We did not. Thank you, Zach.
Thank you, Zach Downing. Thank you. Avery Hera.
Thank you, Avery.
Avery. Thank you.
Thank you, Avery.
Enjoy everything you're entitled to, Avery. Several things at the least. Daniel Pauliola.
I can't see. The text is too small, so I can't help you.
Dan, this is the second time. I wonder if I struggled separately on this on another episode. But for Daniel Pauliola.
Okay, hold on. I'm
Paoliello. Maybe it's like Paleo-yo. No, that can't be right. Maybe it is.
In what godforsaken file are the Patreon shoutouts?
Well, it's not godforsaken. First of all, it's very it's a very good file.
Yeah, but where is it?
Oh, it's in the.
Is it in TDC?
Yeah. I don't know. I think it was on it's top right.
Top right.
A little
Oh,
lower.
perfect.
Yeah, not
Okay.
that top.
I'm gonna help
Sorry.
you with this name. I have no idea. I looked at one look at that. Thank you, Daniel.
All that effort.
Thank you, Daniel.
For a drop of blood.
Hey, we got a contest going on.
Yeah. Hey, Will, you just said a fact about the Dungeoncast.
I did. We got a contest going on. Go check out the post on Twitter, but we're giving away an initiative tracker from what company? Is that ARC?
Yeah, our Arrow Road Creation, who generously sponsored an episode previously.
Indeed, they did.
They're real cool. They're fun to chat with over email, and they seem like great people. So we paired up with them so they can help you be a good player and track your shit.
I think this is more for the DM to track, but yeah.
Oh, is it? Well, then
so.
they're here to help you dungeon master and keep track of your players' stuff because, they're not going to do it.
Yeah, I believe we're giving away 4 items from them, one a week for the month of March, and this is the first one. It's an initiative tracker. It looks really nice. It's like made to look like a spell, like an unfurling spell scroll.
Yes.
And in order to win it, I believe you have to go to Twitter, follow us there, and
tweet out a link to
link
our
to the show.
podcast
Yeah.
with the hashtag Dungeoncast
Yes.
to enter our contest.
Yeah.
We'll be drawing names for the first prize this Monday, 2/28, which was actually last week.
Interesting.
Yeah, but the contest has been going on since last week. I think we just recorded those episodes before we knew we were
Okay.
doing the contest.
Well, then at the time of recording, we don't know what the next item is.
Not yet, but there's going to be another one, I
Yes.
think.
It'll be in the same vein of an initiative tracker, maybe like a dice tower or something along those lines. We won't find out until you find out by following our Twitter.
What we're saying is that there's some time dilation going on when we record this show, and to get the latest, most up-to-date shit, you should be following us on social media, where you can get information live
Indeed.
from someone tweeting it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much to that person.
Indeed.
Yeah. Was there anything else I needed Twitter up for?
No,
normally
I don't think so.
Open Twitter. Okay. Well, that's cool. Well, I have his checklist. Let's go down it. Patreon. We did that. Hey, we hit 1,000 iTunes reviews a while back.
And you know what? I think that was tremendously helpful. Tremendously helpful.
Oh yeah. Well, we should have said this at the top of the episode. We'll do it the next episode. But welcome all new people.
Indeed.
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Welcome to the
Dungeoncast.
Dungeoncast.
You're probably not listening to this episode because it's episode 287.
You might be
or whatever.
backtracking.
You're probably back in the old days.
I always recommend people listen to the latest stuff and then go back, or find topics they like and then go binge it, because apparently it's very bingeable. It's an incredibly
apparently.
bingeable show.
Apparently.
Which is great. I'm happy to hear that. And thank you to everyone who continues to leave iTunes reviews of a positive nature.
Mm-hmm. If you haven't, please do so because it is helping tremendously.
It really helped. I think this is we've been hitting some strides lately, numbers wise, and it's largely and almost assuredly thanks to our audience and your generosity of you guys. You're all a joy, and we see you in the Discord and stuff like that. So we really appreciate you guys, and I want to take this opportunity to tell you that from the bottom of my heart that I love you.
I love you as well.
Okay, so now merch. There's merch available if you want to rep it more than you do.
Check out the link in the description. We have it's called Spread Shop.
Spreadshirt.
Spread Shirt, but we have a Spread Shop on
We have a
Spreadshirt.
spread shop.
On Spreadshirt.
Just it's spread. It's just a weird word.
I guess so. You spread butter on bread.
You spread eagles. No, wait. I don't think that's how that works.
Don't do that.
Or don't kink shame people on this show. We
Oh,
talk about
I thought you were talking about the ancient Viking torture method of spreading.
Oh my God.
Yes, exactly, Brian.
Oh my God. This is like an episode of Attack on Titan all of a sudden. I hate you, Zeke.
Either way, check out the merch on our merch store. No matter how you like to spread eagle.
No matter how, what way you spread things, you could spread word about the Dungeoncast by wearing our fucking licensed merch.
Holy
There's
crap.
a ton of cool shit there. We got cups. Will's wearing a hat all episode. He's got a shirt on.
Yeah.
I decided to wear Batman because
Yeah.
it's laundry day.
We got this really cool glass mason jar that I'm trying to order because right now they're out of stock. But the second they're back in stock, I'm getting it.
God damn it, Will! Why aren't you keeping the shop stocked? I'm
doing my best.
Will told me last week that the shop was out of something. I was like, "What? Is that our fault?"
No,
I was
it
like,
has
"Not
nothing
really,"
to do
because
with
we're
us.
we just put the art on there, and then Spreadshirt either has the shirt or they don't.
Exactly.
I guess.
Yeah.
Supply chain issues. What can you say?
It's
in
a
the times we
mason
live
jar
in?
drink though, like a mason jar
cup.
bottle or cup with a straw. It looks
Yeah.
amazing. I want one. I'm gonna get one. It'll be here on the show soon.
It will be here on the show soon, and we will drink out of it with our mouths. Anyway, what do we got? Else do we got? Spread. It's back. Except this time it's the word. Grab the word by the lower edge of the W and the lower right edge of the D and rip that shit vertically in half, please.
Or you to just tell people about the show.
Yeah, we have a Discord, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok.
You could do it there as well.
I'm going to be putting out the ASMR unboxing of the latest
Oh my
release
god!
video
Have you listened
soon.
to it? How bad is it?
Oh, I have to do it on the computer, so I need to upload those files. It's good.
Okay,
It's good.
Yeah,
It'll be fun.
I did an ASMR opening, and Brian filmed it, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Can we call it a game?
Yeah.
Let's call it a game.
Okay,
We'll
bye,
talk to you guys
everyone.
later.
The Dungeoncast.